Okay, it is 5 o'clock, and as promised, we're going to kick things off right away. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for a really exciting presentation from my colleague, Elena Chiru, about chaos theory of careers. Hello, Elena. We're going to have so much fun. Please note the session is being recorded, and we're asking that everybody remain on mute. There will be time for questions, don't worry, but we're going to be directing you for how to participate. And we will get to that in just a minute. So first, just a couple of housekeeping items. This event is one of the last events in this May's Career Launch Series. Almost a little bit sad. Some of you that have joined for multiple workshops know that we've been learning so much and engaging all while at home. It's been really interesting to do this whole event online. And while I'm sad that this one is ending, you don't need to be sad because we are going to have a whole summer of content just for you. Please make sure you check your email and check Handshake for updates. As you can see, the very, very last event in this series will take place on May the 27th, and that is in preparation for our virtual fair. It's something that'll be new to me. I'm sure it'll be new to a lot of you. So make sure you log in and participate so that way you can make the most of this totally virtual opportunity that'll be happening later in the summer. So less important is what I say, and more important that I leave this slide on the screen. If for something were to happen and you were to lose the audio, this is the phone number you would call. I'm going to place this phone number in the chat box so that anybody can access it while the meeting is going on. And should you run into any technical difficulties, please send them my way in the chat box. My name is Mary Claire Kraft. I will do my absolute best to answer any questions that I get. Regarding that chat box, here's what it looks like. We are going to have you entering all of your questions via this chat box. And an important thing for you to know is that you can be entering your questions as they come to you. You don't need to wait until one specific part of the presentation. You have a question, type it into this chat box, but please make sure you select all participants as the to field, as you'll see up on your screen now in my example. That way it'll ensure that Elena sees it, but also I see it, so that way I can help get questions to Elena as they come up, okay? If something were to happen and you were to accidentally delete your chat field, don't worry. You see this little blue icon under the arrow using the chat function. If you hit that blue icon, your chat box will come right back to you, so no need to panic. There may be a time in the presentation where Elena will ask for you to raise your hand as sort of a poll-taking measure. Here's how you do that. There's a little tiny hand icon in the participant box. You see it with the arrow drawn to it there. If you click that button, that's raising your hand. We ask that you leave it raised for a while and then take it down, so that way we can start fresh with a new poll after that question has completed. And that does it for me. Now the exciting part is that I can personally thank Elena for participating tonight, and I can thank all of you for taking the time to come and learn about this exciting theory. And with that, I'm going to pass over controls to Elena and let her get started.
Thank you so much, Mary Claire, and welcome everyone to the workshop tonight. We will spend about an hour together, and I will, let me see, I'm trying to figure out all the features of the screen, so bear with me just a moment. Okay, so I will probably turn my camera off because I want to make sure that the quality of the sound is great. And when we will have questions and answers, then I will turn my camera on. I will be able to look at you, and hopefully the quality of the sound will stay the same. So I will turn my camera off now, and I will ask Mary Claire to assist me. She's a wonderful assistant, and please include your questions in the chat box. I know it takes sometimes to craft your question, so please do that at any time. We'll pause at one moment and we will answer the questions. And I will make sure that at the end of my presentation, I also have some time to answer additional questions. So feel free to write them at any time. Okay, so let's start the presentation. So you are here for managing your career during chaotic times. So the reason I designed this presentation is because current events point to the fact that very often our career plans are impacted by changes which go so far beyond our imagination. Already the start of the 21st century has presented us with new reality for our careers. It has not been easy to make career plans during unpredictable and uncertain elements, like the pace of change, a growing service economy, technological expansion, and economic influences. In addition, so much more has happened within the past 2 months. With the market's recent downturns and the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be concerned about the impact on your career. University Career Services wants to support you navigate your career during a time of uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So I would like for the first time to invite you to raise your hand if your decision to join us today was because you resonate with the chaotic times part of the title. I want to be able to see what's happening.
Elena, guess what? It looks like we have so many hands raised. I'm going to have to count them. Looks like we have 19 of the 21 participants are raising their hand.
Okay, so I hear you. Okay, let's see. Trying to make sure how things will advance here.
And if everybody could remember to put their hand down, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
It looks like I'm having some technical difficulties here with my slides.
Well, that's okay, Elena. We can all sit and give you the time you need to figure out how to change them. I can share in the meantime, part of what Elena just mentioned is that Career Services is really doing a lot to try to make sure to support all of you in this uniquely chaotic time. Be sure to be checking Handshake. I mentioned the extension of the Career Launch Series into later in the month. Of online fair that's going to be happening mid-June. You'll be hearing much more specific details about that very shortly. But we also have weekly career chat supports where it's a time for you to come into a web room sort of like this and bring your questions. They can be specific to your current journey. It could be something that you've wondered about, or just you need a little bit of encouragement. Please make sure to check those out. They're at times all throughout the week. Or varying times throughout the month, I should say. So that way it's at no one certain time, so that hopefully you'll find a time for work that works for you. Because we really do want to be able to support all of our students as they navigate through this time.
I would like to try something else. It looks like my machine is not cooperating today. Let me see.
And then while Elena's making that work, oh, did you get it, Elena? I could stop.
It looks like let me try. Yes. Okay.
Hi, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, so now due to the economic reality we are facing today as job seekers, we need to know more than ever how to manage our careers during this time. So where do we start? Well, we kind of agree that the world is complex, changing, and chaotic, right? Well, let's start with assessing what you know, cannot know, and can learn. And by assessing that, what you know about yourself, for instance, the job market and the opportunities you have, you can make better decisions. It is also important to identify what you don't know and what you need to learn to fulfill the requirements of possible fields. A successful career choice is based on several factors, including the job market, your interests, your skills, your family, your education, and what is meaningful to you. So decisions are complex. Don't base them just on one single factor. Change is constant. Unexpected and unpredictable elements will emerge. Your career is more improvisational than scripted. Be ready to handle the changes that come along. And say yes. You never know when a small interaction, event, or experience will propel you in the whole new direction. Situations might appear chaotic, but an order will always appear. The job search process seems chaotic and stressful, but patterns do emerge, and when you look back, you'll see the order to everything. You cannot predict what experiences will be valuable or lead to a career. Let's talk a little bit about chaos. So I invite you to write in the chat box one word or a couple of words to describe chaos. Start now. How you describe chaos? First words that come to mind.
We're seeing a complete disorder of things, uncertain, unpredictable. I contributed fast. I feel like chaos feels fast to me. Unpredictable. These are all great words. Keep them coming. Ooh, scary. Absolutely. The reality that counters our expectations.
Disorganized, of course. Thank you so much for participating. Yes, disorder, disarray, disruption. Oh, it makes us feel uncomfortable. But the actual definition of chaos is that it's a very complex system whose behavior is so unpredictable that it appears random. This complex system is very sensitive to micro changes which happen within. So if you have a background in science, you probably already heard of the chaos theory. It has been called the third great revolution of the 20th century physics after relativity and quantum theory. Some of you might know already about the butterfly effect if you are familiar with physics. So I want to share this simple definition with you. So I think it's easy to remember that chaos is the science of how things change. And these words belong to the director of the Center for Applied Mathematics at Cornell University. And it describes the behavior of, the system whose state evolves over time and whose behavior is sensitive to small changes in initial conditions. But you might wonder, how can something called chaos theory help you understand an orderly world? And you might also wonder, what's the connection between hard science and career development? Well, did you know that there is actually a theory in career development, that's my area of expertise, The name of this theory is chaos theory of careers. And it doesn't mean that everything in our careers is completely out of control. There is some order to all of it. For instance, we all managed to show up nearly at the same time for this virtual event. Somehow we managed that. Here are a few things that I would like you to remember about the chaos theory of careers. Well, first of all, planned and unplanned change unfolds in non-linear way. It impacts individual career development. Not linearity is characteristic to career development, and it's very important for us to look at certain patterns that we observe over time that will describe our career. Career development doesn't occur in isolation. All aspects of family, friends, culture, and spirituality play an important role, as does environmental systems, including perceptions and reality of markets, economic conditions, cultural traditions, and more. 100% predictability or certainty about the future and our career choices is impossible. There are limits to our actions, capabilities, and ability to predict the future. Acceptance of our limitations provides pathways to our strengths beyond self-limitation. But we can never be entirely sure. We are always going to be making decisions under conditions of uncertainty. Gaining comfort with uncertainty is essential, and making decisions with limited or partial information is the norm. I'm curious about you today. How would you rate your ability to manage uncertainty? I invite you to think of a number from 1 to 10, where 1 means not managing very well, and 10 means you are managing very well. Now, if you are willing to share your number in the chat box, please so. Okay, I'm seeing 5, I'm seeing 3s. Okay, well, uncertainty is an inevitable part of life, but far too many of us struggle to deal with it in a day-to-day basis. Tolerance for uncertainty is like a muscle that becomes weak if not used. I encourage you to work that muscle next time you face uncertainty. Start gradually. I will give you an example. Let's say resist the urge to check your GPS the next time you are lost and aren't pressured for time. Or go to a concert without Googling the band beforehand. Over time, the discomfort will diminish. Okay, let's talk about career change. Well, for many, the challenge of 21st century is our need to balance change with order. Given this paradox, the idea of continuous change coupled with built-in stability is what chaos is about. Our work-related needs and preferences evolve and change continuously throughout life. At the same time, the world of work is continuously evolving and adapting to economic, political, and social changes. For many reasons, we are changing jobs several times throughout our careers. Some examples of common reasons to change jobs include, seeking higher pay, career advancement, choosing a less stressful job, changing career focus, better work-life balance. Sometimes, a layoff due to a job being made redundant due to a merger or acquisition. Skills and abilities don't fit the job. outsourcing or automation of a job function. Company moved to a new location. So many reasons for us to change jobs. So change in our careers, it happens many times. Just to get a sense, let me see. Speaking about transition, so transition is part of our career development. Just to get a sense where you are in your career transition, I'm suggesting 3 groups. So I would like to raise your hand if you are a career starter. It means that you are transitioning from college to career. So could you please raise your hand if you are in this category?
So Elena, it looks like we have, it's growing a little bit. Give it one more second. 8 attendees identify with being a career starter.
Very good. Now you can lower your hand. How about career advancers? So you will be transitioning to a position with more responsibility and more benefits, hopefully a better salary. Anyone in this category?
We do have some hands getting put up there.
Okay.
It looks like about 5 attendees identify with that.
Okay, very good. And my last group will be career changers. So you will be transitioning from one career to a new one. Any career changers?
We do.
Okay.
The hands are coming up. It looks like we have about 2 attendees identify as being a career changer.
Thank you so much, Mary Claire. Okay. Now, let's see what the Bureau of Labor Statistics says about those transitions and how often they are happening. So, about 2 years ago, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the time spent by employees in a job, it was 4.3 years for men and 4 years for women. And last year, in a survey of baby boomers, the Bureau found that the average number of jobs in a lifetime is 12. But how about the future? We want to know what the future has in store for us. According to some predictions, someone who is 20 years old now will change careers, will change jobs even more often. So probably will change jobs every 1 to 3 years, and will have 29 jobs in their 40 to 50 years of their careers. It is a long-term prediction, and we will be able to verify its accuracy in 4 years from now. But what these predictions tell us is that we will be seeing a higher number of average job changers. In today's job market, it is normal to have more job changes within the first 3 years out of college than our grandparents did during their entire lifetime. Okay, so we have career transitions at different stages of the transition, career changes. I want to share this with you. Speaking of first jobs, this is it was popular on Twitter about 2 years ago. And if you are curious about this, you might check it at #first7jobs. I'm not going to ask you to write down your first 7 jobs, but if you are, you are welcome to do that. If you are curious about this trend, you might want to check it out. Some posts are quite silly, but some are very interesting. What I want to share with you about this is I followed the discussion on Twitter, and I asked actually last summer my colleagues, 22 of them, we had a summer retreat. So I asked them to write down their first 7 jobs. And they did that. So I wanted to know how many of their jobs were planned out and how many of them were accidental. How many individuals had a very clear plan that they wrote down? Had any of these jobs were unplanned? Anyone had at least one unplanned job? Were they able to anticipate the next 6 jobs when they were in their first job? So these are some of the comments from Twitter. So you are welcome to see this. So what I found out from my colleagues was actually something that the research shows. So first of all, we kind of agreed as a group that our careers are subject to chance events and non-linear change. Sometimes small steps have profound outcomes, and sometimes changing everything changes nothing. They agreed that careers can be a combination of control and chance or opportunity. Here I would like to share with you a few things that, few research studies and what they found out. In one study, there were only 20% of people that said that they got where they are by having a careful, thought-out plan. In a different study, only 33% had goals, but also admitted that they have surprises along the way of their career. There were actually several studies where people responded in 80s and 100% that a chance event had a significant impact on their career. And for a study that actually was a longitudinal study that was lasted for more than 20 years, 60% of participants said that they changed to a different career and they reported greater well-being. So I will want to take to pause now and see if I want to check with Mary Claire to see if so far we have any questions in the chat box. So Mary Claire, have you seen any questions so far?
You know, Elena, we did have one question come through very quickly after we began. And several other students commented, I would really like to hear the answer to this.
Okay.
So, I think we can absolutely be applying the theories that you're teaching us about in answering this question. It is, what tips would you have for somebody with an advanced degree, but basically no experience, looking for work in the short term that could be meaningful for a career?
Okay, so that will depend. There are so many things that are important to customize. So advanced degree, meaningful career, no experience. If you are looking for an opportunity right now, I think it's important to look at ways where you build some experience. So if you are planning to apply for a job, you have to convey to that employer that you have the skills to get a job. So when you think about relevant experience, what do you mean by that? So if you have an advanced degree, it means that if you have a master's degree, I would say master's degree is equivalent with 2 or 3 years of experience. So you are becoming a little bit of a specialist comparing to a graduate, to a bachelor's degree. So it depends on how you craft your resume, how you speak about those skills that you have. And depending on what type of job you are looking for, you might want to think about your life experience. Maybe you develop certain skills that can be transferable. So I would emphasize a lot of transferable skills. And I also, if there is a gap in skills, I will look for opportunities to teach myself a skill. There are so many things that you can actually during this challenging time, there are things that you can do for free. I've been surprised how many companies, individuals were sharing free access to so many opportunities to learn something new. So it depends where you are in that journey of building a strong case to impress an employer. You have to show that you have the skills, a great attitude. Many employers are actually looking for that. And because it's time to show that you can do the job, focus on that transferable aspect of your skills. We'll continue. I promise to reserve more space for questions at the end. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. And just for you to remember, I mentioned the chaos theory. It's not my intention today to teach you about chaos theory of careers, but I invite you to remember those three elements. So the three C's of career are complexity, change, and chance. So knowing and remembering those elements, I think, will be important for us as we try to navigate times like now. So, few things I want to think about. So I was mentioning earlier the complexity of systems. The chaos is about how complex systems are changing, right? So we are complex systems. You are a very complex dynamic system. And we are continually changing. And we also interact with each other, with other individuals who are also dynamic, complex system. And the world of work is very complex. Your career is complex as well. So because of all these interactions with complex systems, it's almost impossible, to imagine all the potential combinations. If we have anyone with a math background, probably you can figure that out, how many potential combinations are out there. So with that being said, let me see. My slides are still struggling. I don't know what's happening. Just bear with me. Okay. So I mentioned, you heard me saying this, change is constant in our lives. So even slight changes can affect a system. When these changes are significant, a shift happens, and the system reconfigures itself into a new way of functioning. So it's what's happening right now. This reality with the COVID-19 is impacting our career. And our careers as complex systems, they will reconfigure themselves. So I think it's very important for us to pay attention to, when we experience slow changes, we are in a slow shift, which sometimes could be, result in us drifting off course, even without realizing it. Sometimes our careers, like right now, have will go through dramatic changes, and we experience a fast shift. I think we need to embrace the idea of sudden change, fast shift. Remember that, and slow change, slow shift. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you about this? Well, we have to do some work to manage, survive, and thrive in the face of a world where shift happens. So I have here few shifts that I suggest to you. So the work that we do, maybe we should change the direction from prediction to prediction and pattern making. The world is changing, and it's changing so quickly, and so it's so interconnected. For instance, those predictions, not always are accurate. Most economic models are hopelessly inaccurate. Speaking about weather forecasts are rarely good for more than a few days. And even then, they often get it wrong for a precise living location. So I'm not saying let's ignore predictions, but let's look at the patterns. Look at the things that we learn from history, from previous events. How about plans? Switching from plans to plans and planning. What do I mean by that? Well, we all like to make plans. They make us feel comfortable. They give us a sense of direction and underline a sense of purpose. However, in a rapidly changing world, there are decisions that are made, in countries that we probably never visited or people never met. And yet those decisions can seriously impact our plans. We need to continue to be planning, not relying on a plan. So I encourage you to engage in scenario planning. Think of lots of different possible outcomes and work out what you do in these situations. Or develop mini plans for the very short term that they have little realistic downside and put them into action. How about working towards moving from control to control flexibility? We like to believe that life is control. We need to believe that life is controllable, but we know that there is limitation to our ability to control our lives. Control flexibility, on the other hand, it requires us to understand that our plans are likely to need to be altered to a greater or lesser degree as we embark on our course and discover hidden contingencies along the way or meet with completely unexpected challenges. Armed with this understanding from the beginning, we can apply our proactive problem solving skills. So I invite you to keep an open perspective. And on this slide, I want you to focus on Mason colors. Here is what I want you to focus your attention. So career is not based on a single decision. I mentioned that earlier, but on multiple decisions made with limited and changing information. Moving towards an open perspective allows us to adapt and recover from unplanned events as they impact lives and careers. So, few things to keep in mind as we navigate a complex and challenging time. So, earlier I asked you about uncertainty. Most of us are uncomfortable with the unknown. It can be anxiety provoking. But I can tell you with confidence that the future will not bring only challenges. It will bring opportunities too. I believe we all agree now. These are really challenging times. And I have seen opportunities as well. I can give you an example of a personal example, but I would like you to take a few seconds and share with us in the chat box about an opportunity you have experienced during this challenging time. And when you are writing that, I can tell you my example. Before April this year, I haven't had a chance to present a workshop virtually. It is true, I prefer face-to-face interaction with my audience. And I knew for the past few years that in my profession, many of my colleagues have been presenting virtually for a long time. So I had the opportunity before, but I guess I lacked the motivation. But this was actually a stronger motivation this time to create a presentation for virtual platforms. And this is my third presentation. I feel like I'm getting better. And I'm discovering that I enjoy certain aspects of this. So I'm glad that actually I had this opportunity to use online platforms and present this way. Mary Claire, do we have anyone sharing with us some opportunities they witnessed during this challenging time?
Only one has come through so far.
Okay.
We have a great suggestion that people can use this time to attend more webinars. Oh, here's another. A student has suggested they're going to use the summer to improve certain habits.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, now they're all coming in, Elena. Let's see here. We see some people, this is their first experiment with telework. They were formal heavy travelers. Some people are finding opportunity over the summer that usually under normal circumstances, their jobs weren't extended into the summer, but because of COVID-19, they've needed to take on extra hours.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the Mason news. I want to share a story with you. This is Peyton Moore. She's a senior studying psychology at Mason, and she is creating videos as Queen Elsa from the Disney movie Frozen. That parents can play for their children stuck at home. So she created, she already had a Queen Elsa costume from a previous job working at kids' birthday parties. So she put up a video of her on Facebook, which her friends amplified through their social media channels. Parents responded with some asking that the videos contain special messages. She mentioned that she didn't expect to get as much traction as it did. She is brightening many children's days with her video messages. She talks up the good job the kids are doing, keeping up with chores or homework. She also acknowledges how difficult it is for them to be away from their friends. She does this all because it feels good to give back and spread some positivity. Parents who ask to pay her are encouraged to instead contribute to one of the charities she suggests. I hope Peyton is updating her resume with this project and prepares telling this story, to answer some of these interview questions in the future. I'm sure that she could get inspired to create a side business in the future. I imagine she just learned how this experience, this can become a secondary source of income. So just an example of something that you might have a hobby or something that you're curious about. So use your creativity and see how new opportunities can be created. So I would like also to share with you, because one of the questions earlier was like, okay, how about opportunity? What should I do now? And Mary Claire will share with you one of these links. And I think it's very easy to be anxious about all the companies that are laying off or not hiring. I encourage you to focus on where the opportunity is. We have over 9,000 jobs in Handshake right now. So check this out. And also, this link, tiny URL that I'm sharing here with you, or if you are using the link from the chat that Mary Claire just shared with you, these are companies that are hiring right now. So be creative and do some research and see where the opportunities are right now. I would say that personal growth and creativity occur when we accept life on the edge of chaos. If you ever watched competitive cooking shows like Chopped or MasterChef, then you know how creative people can get trying to make something amazing with the limited or possibly bizarre ingredients that they have to work with, not to mention the limited time. I think it's an example of an exercise of creativity under pressure. Using this metaphor, maybe our career basket doesn't have the expected ingredients right now, but we are resilient and creative. So try to make the most with what the career basket has for you right now. There are two fundamental and complementary ways of achieving personal change. You can take action and you can change your mind. You need both ingredients, and there isn't a perfect recipe to follow. Taking action can change your mind, and changing your mind facilitates action. I can give you 3 examples in each category. And what do I mean by that? So I encourage you to take action. What do I mean by that? Get inspired. Choose things that are novel to you. Break the routine. The aim here is not directly to get a job or even direction. Simply the idea is to get exposed to many different experiences. Also, keep learning and reflect by asking questions such as, which experience did you like and which you didn't like? Why? What do all things that you like have in common? What do all things that you didn't like have in common? How could you be learning? How this learning can be useful to you? And make connections between things you have learned, your experiences. It is about combining pieces of your career puzzle in a new way to produce a new pattern that you know it will work. The more pieces of the puzzle you collect through experience and learning, the more patterns you can create. In terms of thinking, well, I selected few here. If you do not believe that some things can get better, you will not have the reason to try something with all your heart. Optimism is important. Learning how to reframe your thinking in a positive cast of mind is a very useful skill. And optimism doesn't mean that we ignore the challenging reality. It means that we choose to have hope for the future despite present challenges. The flexible mind will see the possibility, so explore your flexibility and persistence for sure. It is amazing how many people fail simply because they lose the courage of their convictions. Make your choice to not giving in. So, what's next? Well, I encourage you to be open-minded and curious. Encourage exploration and proactive attitude. Be spontaneous. Spontaneity will lead you to discover interesting career possibilities that you would not have anticipated. Trusting the explorative process for self-discovery. Receive constructive feedback whenever possible. Find out what works and what doesn't in your career development. Experiment with new things and look for clues. Take risks. Go with the flow. Use your intuition as guiding force for making sound decisions. Understand the bigger picture. When you look at a situation from the outside, it might not be immediately clear. However, in hindsight, assessing the meaning of these patterns can help you synthesize our experience and understand the rationale behind our decisions. And take baby steps. The more that you focus your energy on taking small steps, the more likely that you will see the results. Speaking of baby steps, I invite you to write in the chat box now how many minutes you spend every day on your job search.
That's a good question, Elena. Let's see if any come through. How many minutes a day? We have 1 to 2 hours, 120 minutes. That's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to chime in, or does that feel right? 60 minutes? So it seems like 1 hour to 2 hours is pretty much the standard.
Okay, so that's very good. And okay, So it looks to me that we have job seekers, someone who is looking for jobs right now, very active in that. And we know it takes time. And probably you heard that finding a job is a full-time job, right? So just a few things I want to share with you in terms of thinking about that sometimes you might not feel like you have an hour or two. But making, at least 10 minutes a day, making a routine, it can definitely be a good investment of your time and can help you advance your job search. So do at least 10 minutes every day. First of all, think about, an idea. Let's start first day with the handshake. Complete your profile and make sure that you have your experiences, organizations, courses, skills, projects, all of them are available. Save time by using your resume to fill in your profile and make sure it's 100% complete because employers will connect with you. Explore career paths. 10 minutes. You can start with your profile. Did you know that actually in Handshake, by clicking on that icon over there in the corner, you could access so much valuable information about employers, about communities, about career paths. You can connect with Mason students and alumni. You can learn not only from Mason students, but also from students of similar major or academic program in other universities. Join some organizations. Mary Claire will be able to share this with you in the chat. Join an organization on campus. Maybe find a professional organization outside Mason for volunteer work. LinkedIn group is very another resource for you that you can definitely use to connect with others. Create a target list of employers. We have here resources on our page, career resources. Mary Claire can share that with you. And we have one of the resources that is not very popular with students, don't know about it, but the ones they learn about is Career Shift can help you by creating an account. You can generate in 10 minutes a list of at least 50 employers by just selecting them. Location, a type of organization, the criteria is important with you. And it's very important to have a list of potential employers. You might have favorite employers, but having a list of 50 employers can give you additional support. Learn something new. Some of you probably are familiar with LinkedIn Learning. There are so many tutorials out there. If you are Mason alumni, Mary Claire will share with you how you can actually access. As a Mason student, this is the address, lil.gmu.edu. But for Mason alumni, let me see, go back to that. My slides are acting up now. You can access as Mason alumni LinkedIn Learning through the library. So Mary Claire will share that with you. Make sure that you update your resume. In 10 minutes, you can, change a bulleted statement that sounds like this, communicating with customers daily, to take that to the next level. Show, the impact, show the numbers when you have them quantified. Make sure that you check your resume for keywords and compare the job descriptions with your resume. There are many resources that can allow you to do that, but make sure, because if you don't have those keywords in your resume, applicant tracking systems or the robots that the employers are using to scan your resume might prevent your resume for actually being selected by and being with recruiter. Spend some time with LinkedIn. Improve your headline. Very important. Actually, that's very important. And having a professional headshot is very important as well. And try to get rid of student at George Mason University or a graduate of George Mason University. Make sure that you promote promote what you have to offer. So using a headline like this can be can show an employer what you have to offer, and connect with people that you meet at different events. And I know that right now you don't meet them in person, but could be someone who attended, was a good guest speaker for your class, or maybe someone you met at a career fair back in February. Make sure that you connect with them in LinkedIn, and it doesn't take more than 10 minutes to write a nice message on LinkedIn to connect with these professionals. And this is a time when they actually are very active. Practice interviewing skills. This is very important. Use the STAR method. If you haven't heard of that, you can learn more about this. We have more information on our website. But then basically tell the situation, provide the task, tell the story, put the action that you took and the result. So having that structure in mind can be very helpful as you convey the message in less than two minutes. And practice behavioral interviewing questions, because those are the questions that usually start with "tell me about a time when." So they want to hear about your past experience, your performance in the past is a prediction of success in the future. Here are some ideas of how you can practice 10 minutes a day at least. Some of you have more than 10 minutes. So here is an idea of how you can combine and you do a variety of things with an hour or two or more. But keep going, by, using 10 minutes every day, you can get closer to your goal. Here we are. Questions at the end. I promise I will save some time at the end. Maybe, Claire, do we have any questions?
I do have a question that's come through, and if anybody else has another question to add, please make sure you add it to the chat box now. This question I found very intriguing. What if most of your first 7 jobs were planned? Does that mean planning works better for you individually?
If they, remember what the research says, about 20% of people said that they plan their career very well.
Right.
So, yes. But even people who had a lot of, so many plans, and they planned, everything was so well planned, even they were surprised by changes. So I would say maybe the surprise and the opportunity comes in a different form. Maybe you are really enjoying your job, but maybe a new task, a new type of project that you can do. So keep an open perspective. Keep an open mind, because you never know. Maybe you know yourself so well and you are right about that. But what if you haven't tried something different? You don't know if you're gonna like it.
That's a good answer. Elena, what would you say to people who are feeling sort of weighed down by your last slide said, keep going, keep trying? What advice would you have for them?
Well, I think it's very hard to stay optimistic when so much is going on, right? So I would say, try not to be worried about, things that you cannot control, right? So maybe some days you are not feeling up to doing anything about your job search, but try something small. That's why I suggested those small, short activities that you can do, right? I'm sure if you have more time and you are feeling energized, you can do more than that. Focus on what, on stress reduction activities, exercising your body, relaxing your mind. That will give you some peace that you deserve. Meditation, yoga, exercise, something like that, right? Try to be productive in terms of, things that you like doing. And connect with others. And I know it's hard nowadays because we miss our friends, and it's very hard to just interact with everyone through the screens, and probably everyone is so tired of looking at the screens. But just think about who are the people, who can support you. Who is your advisory board? Who are your cheerleaders? I graduated from my master's program in 2008. So I was looking for a job during the recession. And it was hard. It was hard. And it took longer. So let's say that when we don't have to deal with a recession, it takes up to 6 months to find a job. Now it might take longer. It might take longer than 6 months. Maybe the first opportunity that you will get, it will be some project that you can do online, because it's very easy to do those things online nowadays. But connect with people. Talk to people now, build relationships. Employers are actually telling us that they want, I forgot to bring my camera. Actually, I promised to bring my camera. I don't know what's happening with my machine here, but I hope at least you can hear me.
We can, beautifully.
So employers tell us that they want to hear from you. Employers who used to come to campus, now they don't have to travel. So guess where they spend most of their time? On LinkedIn, and they want to hear from you. And some employers feel bad that they probably don't have as many openings, or they have to postpone those starting jobs. But something that I notice and I really appreciate is that they offer advice. They want to help you in different ways. So build those connections now, because this challenging situation will pass, and employers will have those opportunities again. And guess what? You will have those connections already with them, and they will remember you. It's actually how I found my first job during the recession time. It was a job, part-time, and it was not advertised anywhere. It just happened that I met that person at the conference, and we were just chatting about things that we liked at the conference. And, make connections everywhere. People who were experiencing job searching, job hunting during the recession, like myself, they know how it feels right now for people looking for jobs. So they are there to help you. So feel free to ask for help. It's an opportunity right now. People are listening more than before.
You're right, Elena. That's the exact same advice I've been hearing from the employers that I've been in touch with and in the other Career Launch panels. I also wanted to suggest for anybody who's listening to this advice and taking it in and thinking, well, maybe I'm different because I need to make money right now. I can't wait 6 months. Perhaps that's where your change and your opportunity comes into play. Maybe you never meant to get a job doing X, Y, Z, but it was what you could find now, and then it turns out you end up loving it. This is a different time and a chaotic time, but to Elena's point, there are so many people that are in this boat with you, including the employers and recruiters that come to George Mason regularly. So we would encourage you to reach out to them and make the best of it as much as you can. Does that sound fair, Elena?
Yes, thank you so much. I am aware that we are a little bit over time. If I can take one last question, if we have anything. If not, we can
wrap it up. Yeah. Well, I'll wait just 1 second. There is not a question in the chat field right now. I'll take this as an opportunity to thank you, Elena, for sharing your expertise with us, and for all the students on the line for your honest feedback and participation. We really enjoyed having you today. The question box is still empty, so we'll close it down. Thank you, everybody, for participating. It's been such a joy, and we look forward to hosting you at other events in the future. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, and stay connected with us.
Yes, please do. You can find us on LinkedIn for sure. Bye. Take care.